got notified we had a family trapped in their basement. We had gas leaks going on all over town. That was kind of when I kind of realized it was a lot more than just a little bit of wind damage around.
It was a lot more. It was 1 year ago today, a massive storm with 81 tornadoes tore through communities in Minnesota and Iowa, leaving behind a trail of destruction, tearing off roofs off of buildings and damaging whole towns, making history as the first December tornadoes ever in Minnesota. Thank you so much for staying with us in this half hour. I'm Laura Lee.
I'm James Wilcox. Here's a look at where those tornadoes touched down on December 15th, 2021. Not just one tornado, 81 total tornadoes, 61 of those in Iowa and 22 in Minnesota, 2 of those crossing state lines. Just one tornado in December is rare.
That's right, and we had several of you send in pictures and video of the storms that night as well. Of course, this one is showing us the bank in Heartland. We received photos all day, all night long.
Yeah, look at that, a grain bin on the top of a house right there.
You could see the wind blowing, whipping that rain. Again, this was December 15th last year. Temperature is very different than what we're seeing now. Yeah,
it's hard to believe that when you look at these pictures and then you look out your window, the difference between 1 year ago and today. The weather was much different. Didn't feel like December on December 15th of last year.
We went into it with record highs in the 60s and low 70s. The dew points were extremely high. And we had the makings of a severe weather setup in December. Very rare. It was extraordinarily powerful of a system. And we did see those winds strong. The ambient wind was strong. These storms were racing through at about 75 miles per hour and created wind gusts in the storms themselves even stronger, as high as 105 miles per hour in Sheffield, Iowa, just south of our area.
As a meteorologist, as obviously an expert in this field, that day as the night progressed, as the storm system was coming, were you just in awe and shock of how many tornadoes you were seeing on radar and what was developing?
Well, we knew going into it, it was going to be an extraordinary night. We had the whole weather staff here, Jim and Spencer and myself. Kudos to them, because it takes a team to go through what that was.
But that being said, though, Chris, you do that sometimes when you expect possibly one tornado.
Right, exactly.
Any tornadoes.
And this was just such a rare feat. Reading some of the reports that were coming in, railroads being ripped up out of the ground, railroad tracks that is, that was out of Rudd. I remember that distinctly. And then you think of banks as being such strong physical buildings, and here report that a bank is severely damaged in Heartland, and those two definitely still ring in my mind about it. The storms raced through at about 75 miles per hour. That's as they were moving on the ground, and those very strong winds, everyone was impacted by those winds. And then so many tornadoes locally, around 40 of them locally. And then kind of forgotten about after the storms, the wind was still strong overnight after the storms had moved through, as we were starting to plummet to those temperatures. It was still gusting to, I think, 77 miles per hour at times. So we still saw the destruction even after the storms were gone. And if you look closely, still a year later, you can find the scars from this night still apparent across the area.
When you look at some of this video, one thing that stands out to me is how dark it is, because you have to think when these tornadoes hit, many cases they lose power. So that goes, you know, everything in the dark as well.
Exactly.
So that really stands out.
So,
down in Rudd, Tyler Hicks, I believe his name was, who did that tornado siren, held that down as he shot video of that tornado making its way through town. That video really kind of shows you the strength of the storm.
Yeah, he really is a hero there for Rudd, because he's the one that kept those sirens going in town as a tornado was ripping through. So
manually with his hand.
And real quickly, I know we're running out of time, but we had around 40 tornadoes in our area that night. Not a single picture or video. That's how quick they were moving during the dark. You just couldn't see them.
Before we go real quick to can you explain just briefly, several tornadoes all measuring different strengths. How do you as a scientist decipher the type of damage that comes with each strength?
So the National Weather Service goes out and surveys the damage and figure out if it's a tornado at all that caused it. And then they have certain specs that they look out. All right, this type of house that was built, it was well built. What kind of wind would it take to destroy this? And so they assess the damage factor to it. And the strongest damage, or the The strongest assessed value of what it would take to destroy that defines just how strong that tornado would be, because it's very rare we actually get measured wind gusts inside a tornado.
Oh, historic night again. 81
was.
tornadoes on this day last year.
Yeah,
Chris,
between 2 states.
thank you so much.
Dealing with a different kind of weather today.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
We'll talk about that later.
Well, you know what? We have a page on our website right now with all of our December tornado anniversary coverage today. You can find it on our front page at KAAL-TV.com.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris, for sharing your insight with us. We do appreciate it.